This weekend marks 4 years since a Hawkins County girl was last seen. 5-year-old Summer Wells was reported missing from her home on Ben Hill Road in the Beach Creek community on June 15, 2021. On your left, the photo shared by the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation when the Amber Alert was issued. On your right, an age-progressed photo released 2 years ago of what she may look like. News Channel 11's Ansley Daniel spoke with Summer's father, Don Wells, as the 4-year mark of his daughter's disappearance approaches.
It's been over 4 years. 4 birthdays missed. 4 Christmas mornings without her laughter. 4 long summers where her name echoes louder than ever. But her voice has never returned. Her name is Summer Wells. And one evening in June 2021, just before dinner, she vanished from her family's home in the hills of Hawkins County, Tennessee. She was just 5 years old. The story gripped the country. But as time passed, leads dried up, headlines faded, and even hope began to wither. The world moved on. But you didn't. And neither did we. Now, after years of silence, a chilling new statement from the man at the center of it all is turning everything we thought we knew upside down. Don Wells speaks. In this episode, we go back to the beginning. We lay out the timeline, revisit the dark undercurrents surrounding the case, and prepare you for what may be the most important revelation yet. If you believe every missing child deserves to be remembered, and that truth, even buried deep, can still rise to the surface, then stay with us. Watch, listen, share, because someone, somewhere, knows what happened to Summer Wells. Within hours of Summer's disappearance, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation and local deputies from Hawkins County launched a massive search across rugged, unforgiving terrain. Helicopters cut through the sky. Canine units traced what little scent remained. Hundreds of officers combed the woods, the riverbanks, even nearby homes, looking for any trace of the 5-year-old girl. Over the following weeks, more than 1,200 tips poured in from across the country. Some were hopeful, others wildly speculative. But despite exhaustive efforts, not a single piece of concrete evidence has ever confirmed what happened to Summer. No suspects, no arrests, and no signs of foul play, just silence. But as the investigation stalled, public focus shifted from the search for a missing child to the behavior of the people who were supposed to protect her. Don Wells and Candace Bly, Summer's parents, made national headlines with a highly publicized appearance on the Dr. Phil show. Experts Scott Rouse and Greg Hartley, well-known body language analysts, were brought in to break down their behavior. Candace became visibly distressed and walked off set mid-interview. Don, by contrast, remained composed. According to the analysts, his responses showed no signs of deception. But off-camera, Dawn's life was unraveling. In October 2021, he was arrested for driving under the influence. By February 2022, he'd pleaded guilty and was sentenced to nearly a year behind bars, his probation already violated. From jail, he wrote a desperate letter to whoever may have taken his daughter. He begged for her return, pleaded for mercy, and warned that without her, he and Candace were, quote, falling apart. Online, however, the public was far less forgiving. Reddit threads exploded with speculation. Some users theorized that Summer may have died during an attempted escape, and that her body was deliberately hidden. Others accused Don and Candace of covering up something darker. Asterisk. One post read, DW and CW run that circus. They sabotaged the case more than anyone else. Asterisk, another speculated. During the exchange, Summer attempted an escape. Her body was disposed of in a body of water. What was once a missing child case had become a lightning rod for conspiracy theories, amateur sleuthing, and character assassinations. Some users even doxed the family, accusing them of everything from negligence to murder. But amid the noise, a more painful truth remained. Summer was still missing. In a rare and emotional statement, Dawn Wells described life after his daughter's disappearance as 1,000 days of hell. He spoke of sleepless nights, public judgment, and the haunting possibility that she may never be found. He blamed law enforcement. He blamed the media. He blamed himself. While some saw his anguish as genuine, others viewed it as manipulation, an attempt to redirect scrutiny away from the family and towards some unknown phantom. But beneath all of it, grief, guilt, or guiltlessness, was a father who had lost his child, and a community demanding answers he couldn't provide. But now, after years of silence, the same man under the harshest of lights says he's ready to tell the truth. A new interview, a new confession, and possibly the beginning of the end of the mystery that has haunted a nation. Today, Dawn Wells breaks the silence. August 2025. Nearly 1,500 days since Summer Wells disappeared. Most assumed the case had gone cold. Then, without warning, Dawn Wells agrees to sit down for a recorded interview. No press, no police, just a camera, a microphone, and what many hoped would be a long-awaited reckoning. The man once seen by many as evasive was suddenly ready to talk. What Dawn said wasn't a confession, not in legal terms, but it wasn't nothing either. He began slowly, speaking about the weight of guilt, about the nights he'd hear Summer's voice in dreams, the moments he replayed over and over the things he should have done differently. "I wasn't there when I should have been," he said. "I thought she was safe. I should have known better. That's on me." When asked directly if he believed Candace had told him the full truth about that day, his voice faltered. He looked off camera. I don't know anymore," he whispered. "I want to believe she told me everything. But when you live in chaos for so long, you stop knowing what's real." Then came the most telling moment. The interviewer asked, "Do you think someone in your family knows what happened to Summer?" Dawn didn't answer. He just stared at the floor for 19 seconds, then said quietly, "Maybe." Psychologists observing the interview noted clear signs of cognitive dissonance, an internal struggle between memory, denial, and trauma. Dawn Wells has a long documented history of substance abuse, criminal behavior, and familial instability. Multiple Jewish, domestic violence charges. At the time of Summer's disappearance, he was on probation and living in a home many described as chaotic at best. Candace Bly, meanwhile, had previously filed for a protective order against Dawn, only to later retract it. Body language experts said her behavior during public appearances suggested high stress, defensiveness, and evasion. Together, they were a couple entangled in dysfunction, now expected to answer for a child's vanishing. And at the center of it all was Summer, 5 years old, blonde hair, blue eyes, described by neighbors as vibrant, playful, full of life. She loved her brothers. She loved to dance. She was last seen walking into her home and never walking out. No confirmed sightings, no trace, just silence. Despite Dawn's statements, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation has not reclassified the case. They continue to describe it as an open investigation with no suspects and no signs of abduction or foul play. Authorities say they're reviewing the interview footage but caution the public. We deal in evidence, not emotion. Still, behind closed doors, sources close to the case say the tone has shifted. One retired investigator told us off the record, "It's the first time Dawn said anything close to doubt. It might mean something, or it might mean he's finally broken. So now we're left with a half-truth, or a fractured memory, or perhaps a beginning. Because once someone breaks the silence, the truth has a way of clawing its way out. Will justice finally follow? Or has this story, like Summer herself, been buried too deep to be uncovered?" The interview went viral within hours. On YouTube, Reddit, Twitter. Everywhere. People weren't just watching, they were dissecting. Investigators at the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation confirmed they've reviewed Donewell's statements. While no new leads have been announced publicly, officials quietly re-interviewed certain individuals and revisited locations from early in the search. In Hawkins County, locals held their breath. For some, it felt like a long-awaited breakthrough. For others, it only deepened the wounds. Candace Bly has not responded to requests for comment. Their sons, Summer's brothers, remain under the custody of the Department of Children's Services. The family, once under one roof, is now splintered and silent. Despite mounting public pressure, no criminal charges have ever been filed in connection to Summer's disappearance. Donewell's 2021 DUI conviction stands as the only legal consequence faced by either parent since that June day. He served nearly a year. No new motions have been filed. No indictments. No arrests.